So let's talk about, it is interesting because when we go through major life experiences, I think we tend to, our humanness, we kind of consider our lives before and after. Like, when we lose someone or when we become parents, like the me before parents, the me after parents. And when you've gone through something such as you have with incarceration, there's the before incarceration and there's the after, after you've come out. Our lives can tend to get split up into chapters. But really, it's all part of the story of who we are.
For sure.
And that's what I was quite captivated with by the idea behind your book and your project of what you've been working on, is that you were continuing the story, right? It wasn't just, it wasn't you trying to make up for something. It was you trying to keep pace with what was happening. Like your daughter's life couldn't be on hold, even though it was like, in even your life, like even though you were, you're in prison, and so you're out of what's going on in the general population, but your life is still going on and you still are on this forward motion. So,
well, you know what? The funny thing is that my birth name, Lanre, is short form for Olanrewaju, and Olanrewaju in Yoruba, which is the language, the dialect, tribe that my mom is from, both my parents are from. Olanrewaju actually means standing up, moving forward, like.
No way. That's awesome.
Yeah, standing up and moving forward.
That's a pretty amazing legacy.
Yeah.
So now here we are. We're having this conversation in 2016, and you have now done a book. And you talked about how you shared with us about the kind of the inspiration behind it, and which, by the way, as a side note, I also am a New Year's baby, so I have.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So now, what has happened as a result of the book in your life?
Well, as a result of the book, it's neat to be known as a published author. I'm getting the feedback has been great. Like, especially with women, it's 100% women. All women across the board love it. But in general, everybody loves it. Leading up to my book launch, I reached out to a couple of business owners to donate door prizes and raffle prizes. And one particular gentleman that I reached out to, who was a manager of a grocery store, he contacted me right away and said, "You know what, come by, I might have something for you." And when I went to go see him, the first thing he wanted to do was shake my hand and put a fist over his heart and said, "Buddy, like, your story hit me." So, and he's like, "Usually I would only donate X amount, but because your story hit me, I'm going to donate this much." And so, like, that's just one person. Like, I've had numerous other people. I've had a tenure professor read my book and said, I really got to rethink my perspective on life, on certain things, on my opinions on certain things, based on what she read in my book.
Wow.
So, and then you have, your housewives, like, and everybody loves it, and so all across the board has been a great feedback. And because of the book now, I'm doing interviews like I'm doing right here, and also this coming September, the Word on the Street, I'm gonna have a booth there, so I'm gonna be at Word on the Street
here in Toronto.
Yeah, here in Toronto. And about a month and a half ago, I was in Newmarket for a book fair as well. So.
And what an awesome thing, even if it can inspire fathers to be mindful of, I think as parents we sometimes get, I don't even know how to say it, we get caught up in the business of parenting, that we forget that there's sometimes we just want to, let's just be present with our kids, and let's remember that they're doing life. We want to think, for me personally, like I'm, in the situation that I'm in, where I've been stuck between two countries with my daughter, and my daughter can't leave Dominican Republic. And for a long time, it was easy to think about it like, I just want to get past this time in my life. But for my daughter, this is her childhood. There is no second childhood, right? Like, this is her childhood. So it's that helped me, realizing that, to just get present to where she was at and to remember that she's doing life as well, and to be able to engage in that and to be a part of that in whatever capacity that I can. And so I want to honor you for doing that, because it's easy when we've gone through so many things. It's easy to want to turtle, right? And it's tempting, and we all fall into it at certain times. The pressure can get overwhelming, and we can it's easy to just allow our perspective to tunnel into where we find ourselves and to think that it's never going to change. Mm-hmm. And by doing something like what you did with your daughter, it was a reminder that this will change, but I'm the one that gets to choose who I am in the middle of it. And so I want to thank you for that, Lanre, because that's an amazing legacy to leave in the world. Now, if you were sitting in a coffee shop right now across from someone who is listening to our show, and they are maybe they're just feeling really overwhelmed right now too, like what you said, where you're like, it's almost ironic. It's just so ironic that things just keep going from bad to worse in their lives. And if you had the chance and you were sitting across from them right now, what would you want to say to them?
You know what? Life is as simple as this. Life is one long day. Mm-hmm. At the end of it, there's an end. You know what I mean? So just look at it as that. Because so a lot of people are overwhelmed because they get caught up with time. Like I'm a person, I don't wear a watch, and that's for a specific reason, and that's because I don't want to get caught up with time. That's why you mentioned it, being present with your child. Like a lot of people, they're so caught up in you know what I mean? They're keeping up with the Joneses, they miss those moments with their children, or just in life in general, even if you don't have children. So just remember, life is one long day, and at the end of it, we're all going to end up in the same place. Yeah. So till then, you do have a choice. Mm-hmm. And you really do have a choice. And try to surround yourself with like-minded people. If anything, reach out to somebody like yourself, Christal, mm-hmm. myself, reach out to somebody. Because you'd be surprised. Like it was out of frustration that I was talking to my friend about not being able to get a hold of my daughter, and it wasn't my idea. It was his idea. He was like, "Hey, you know what? Just start writing, writing." And then look what that has manifested to, just from me talking about how I felt about my daughter to my friend, and he understood it to a T, and he said, "You know what? You should start writing her."
Yeah. Awesome.
And writing is very powerful. It's very writing is another form of casting spells. You know what I mean? Because that's why it's called spelling, right? Yeah. When you write stuff, it's like, so as I'm writing all this stuff that I'm writing to my daughter, I'm paving the way for the future that we have now. If I never picked up the pen, maybe this would never have happened. You know what I mean? Maybe my mind state would have gotten worse, and more things would have happened, maybe I would still be incarcerated, who knows? But because I said, you know what, there's something I need to address. So wherever you are, if there's an issue you need to address, and there's an issue, reach out to somebody, address it, you know what I mean? And just remember, at the end of the day, we're all gonna leave this planet, but till then, you do have a choice. When you think you don't have a choice, you do have a choice, believe me. And sometimes just doing nothing is a choice. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Just, you know what? I'm not, because sometimes we're control freaks. As you go, I got to control this. And that's another thing I had to learn, is to surrender. Surrender, just let it be. And what will be. Que sera, sera. Mm-hmm. That's about it. And that's how I got through it. It's just like, what will be. And slowly but surely, things started to turn around, But it was funny. But when things started turning around, I got through so much that I was pretty numb to a lot of the good stuff too. So it was like, I was like, okay, I'm getting to go home. I was like, okay, I wasn't really overwhelmed. Like, I'll give you an example. The Don jail is closed now. But I was in the Don jail in 2010, about mm-hmm. to get released, and the guys on the range that I was on heard the news that I had gone to court that day, and that day was actually the day I was gonna get out, and they were upstairs banging, making all kind of noise. The guards were like, "Hey, listen, if you guys don't be quiet, we're gonna lock you guys down. They didn't care. They're like, hey, one of the guys got out. You know, they knew my
Mm-hmm.
story, so they were very happy. But I was downstairs in the holding cell waiting to get released. Cool, not like just not no emotion at all. To the point that a guard comes up to me and is like, buddy, you did all this time. You're about to go home and you just sit there. And I'm like, because of what I've been through,
Yeah.
like I'm not believing it.
Yeah.
I'm out there.
Yeah.
So that's how numb I became to
Yeah.
the obstacles I had to deal with. So even when things turn around, I was just like, I wasn't skeptical, but I wasn't gonna set myself up for failure. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
But that's basically it. Reach out to somebody because we're just a drop in the ocean, eh? Like
Mm-hmm.
a raindrop, we're all a raindrop in this ocean,
Yeah.
and we're made of water, ironically. So
We're part of a bigger picture. Well,
yeah.
thank you, Lanre. Now, Lanre, how can people find you?
Well, you could get a hold of me at 27thletters@gmail.com.
Okay, so that's 27th, right? 27th letters?
27th
Yeah.
letters with an S
Yeah.
at gmail.com, and you can contact me for any type of event. I do speaking engagements and so on and so forth. And you can check out my book on the website 27thletters.com. You can also find it on Amazon. It's also on Kindle, so
Okay.
if you want a Kindle version of it, it's there.
Okay.
And, and I'm on Instagram as Lanre Obey, LANRE OBEY, and the same thing on Twitter. And on Facebook, it's Lanre Onigbinde-Bey, LANRE ONBEY.
Okay.
So yeah, and those you can contact me then, and my ears are open, I'm here to help. We're all here to provide service for each other. That's the thing at the end of the day, is that we get into this capitalistic mind state, keeping up with the Joneses and the Matrix mind state. But really and truly, we are our own heroes, and we are the answers to the problems that we face daily.
I love that.
Whether individually or collectively.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Thank you, Lanre. Thank you. Thank you for the bravery of sharing your story and of being honest about where you've come from and about what your hope is for the future. And if you're listening to this show today and you've been touched by Lanre's story, you can find him, those links, they'll be in the show notes. And as well, you can contact me, Christal, at yourbrillianceunlimited.com. And until we meet again, I hope that you continue in the incredible journey to find your bravery. Thanks.